Yolanda! It's Amigos, episode 354. Hi everybody, welcome to Amigos. I'm John.
And I'm Aaron.
And today, Aaron, we're going to be talking about Yolanda.
Very excited about this episode, bud.
What's your favorite girl name?
Oh, gosh. You know, I think I like my favorite girl. That's a tough question to ask somebody right off the top of my head now.
Is it not Yolanda?
It's, well, you know, I've never known anyone named Yolanda except for one chick at school that was old. So I don't have a good reference.
A chick at school that was old?
Yeah.
She was like a non-traditional student?
Oh, this is when I went to electronics school.
Oh, okay.
You know, I don't really think I have a favorite name.
Have you heard of Yolanda Adams before?
No.
She was the singer on Ally McBeal.
I didn't watch that show.
She had a standing engagement on that show.
Are there other famous Yolandas?
That's the only one I know.
You know,
So if you were going to have a daughter, what would you name her?
Well, jeez, I don't know. Aaron Jr. Because Aaron's a good name for a girl or a boy.
It is.
So
it is.
I used to pitch that
Probably
all the time.
not the junior. I'd probably throw that out.
Well, you know. What about you?
I like Elizabeth. Elizabeth's a fine name.
You got to say it like Macho Man. You know?
I don't know how you say it.
Elizabeth down that aisle. You know, that's because Miss Elizabeth was his valet.
Mm-hmm.
That's every time I hear that name. Or you could say it like Fred Sanford. Elizabeth is the big one. They actually sound sort of similar.
I was going to say that your Sanford voice and your Macho voice kind of intersects a little bit.
Well, I mean, there's a lot in common between those two guys. They were both studs. Did you ever watch Sanford and
All the
Son?
time. I love that show.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, I'm glad to hear that, bud.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't, you know, the thought of having a daughter fills me with a certain sense of dread.
Yeah.
Because raising a son's hard enough. I couldn't imagine raising a daughter. For one thing, I haven't been down that road. And secondly, it just seems scarier to me.
Yeah.
You know.
And it's not like you had any sisters to show you the way either.
No,
so.
no. It's you know, in fact, I couldn't handle it. But I mean, what are you gonna do?
What are you gonna do?
And you never know what's gonna happen.
Yeah.
But man, you never know granddaughter.
Mm-hmm.
You never know.
Yeah. It can be here sooner than you think.
Oh no, it can't. Shut the. I don't want to hear that, Bo.
Well, Aaron, let's just dive right into this week's Amiga news and see what's going on. That's why we don't put the chat there anymore, by the way. Aaron, our first story this week is all about the Amiga 1020 5 1/4 floppy drive.
Let me tell you something. I was excited about this one, and because I actually have one of these, and so I was thinking to myself, because here comes Doug with the explanation. What the heck is the point of this thing? Well, that's a good question because we weren't sure. You recall that we tried to mess with this thing with the C64 emulator when the only time I've ever really fooled with it, and we didn't have any success. And so, who knew that this thing was so difficult to use? I had no idea, but of course, Mark gets into it and goes into the how it works. And what you have to do to get the Windows to get Amiga OS to recognize the drive.
Mm-hmm. And these things ostensibly were made to work with the bridge boards that were for the Amiga, but with enough finagling, you can get it to recognize as a 400K regular floppy drive on the Amiga.
Yeah, and he does ultimately go into down the road of what really would you do with this, and what would he do with it? Mm-hmm. Well, the answer is nothing, except for use it with a bridge board. That's the way, I mean, mine sits there. It's cool looking. It's branded, so it makes it kind of neat.
Mine had that modded switch. You remember that?
That's right. I forgot you've got one too.
Yeah, I gave it to John Marshall because I saw him eyeing it, and so I
and you knew you'd never do anything with it.
That's right.
But still, it's neat to have. I didn't realize they were. Doug mentions that they're rare. I didn't know. It's funny that we both had one.
Yeah.
So I don't know how rare they are, but I'd never had one until I got that big load of stuff from that guy. But they're kind of neat. Doug goes into it. He also goes step by step in terms of what you could do with it and how you get it to work. He also mentions that it's literally almost the exact same drive as a Commodore 64 drive, one of the later ones that came out. I mean, it's literally, it looks the same. It's the same kind of molding.
Probably have the same mold, yeah.
Just some of the innards are a little bit switched around,
Mhm.
but pretty interesting. And I enjoyed it. Doug always brings the good stuff there. I got a big kick out of this one, Bo.
Now, Aaron, our next story, we touched on it briefly a few weeks ago, but now that it's finally official, I want to bring it back and talk about it one more time. The next Amiga Jam is now live and kicking. They're now submitting entries. This thing is the Blitz Basic Amiga Game Jam. So all entries must be coded in Blitz Basic. Submissions are due in 2 months and 29 days. This thing opened up on June 1st. And it finishes up on August 31st. So you got all summer to do this. It's going to be real interesting to see what people come up with, what people can code in Blitz Basic.
You know, I'm looking here at the judges for this.
Mm-hmm.
You got a good bunch here. You've got Amiga Bill.
Mm-hmm.
He's got to be there.
Yeah.
He's sort of your figurehead.
Right.
Then you've got Sven, I believe his name is Droge. He's the developer of Amiga Blitz, sort of an important fellow. Darren Doyle, graphic designer and co-creator of Bitmap Soft and Phoenix Square. You can see where I'm going here. They didn't just pick like
you
Slim,
and me.
No, that's the last guy you want. These guys are knowledgeable studs who have experience in the realm of Blitz Basic, which, you know, a very powerful language. We've seen a lot of good stuff come out, so this should be a lot of fun. You got, about 3 months to get it done? Yeah.
And as the months roll by, as these entries come in, I'm sure that our buddy Neil over at Indie Retro News will be giving us updates. I can't wait to see as these games develop what's going on.
Yeah.
All right, Aaron, our next story is all about International Amiga Day.
Yeah, this was perplexing to me. Someone filled me in, but go ahead.
So International Amiga Day was created way before we started the podcast. This thing's been going on for years and years, and it was actually founded over at the English Amiga board, where I think some guy just made a post. He's like, I declare May 31st to be International Amiga Day. And so it was for then and forever. And I guess May 31st is Jay Miner's birthday.
Yes. That's the part I didn't, that's where I got clued in. Now, if this has been going on for all these years, I mean, we've been doing this for a while. We cover news. We don't catch it all. We catch a little bit of it. I don't remember ever hearing about this. Do you?
Maybe not. I don't know.
Did we ever? I'll guarantee someone's going to go back and find a clip of us going, hey, it's Amiga Day.
Probably every year. We just forget about it because it's only once a year.
I don't remember it. And there's a list of stuff you've got to do. Did you see this? You must switch at least one Amiga. I'm going to ask you if you did this on that day. Because I believe what day was this again? This was
May 31st.
So that was it Sunday?
Tuesday.
Tuesday. Okay, so that's a work day. It's a little bit tough. You got to run at least one game, but emulation has been accepted. You must whiten a yellowed Amiga. I guarantee you wouldn't do that. You must give your non-working Amiga to a tech. In case you are a technician, you've got to get one working. You have to wear an Amiga T-shirt.
Hey, I've got that. Bam.
And if none of the above, you can make a foot of yourself with an Amiga and share it with your friends on social networks or whatever Amiga activity you like. I think my Amiga activity was I moved some Amiga game boxes around that day.
Hey, whatever works,
there you go.
man.
But I didn't share it. So there you go. Next year we'll know better.
Yeah.
We'll make a little checklist stuff.
We'll prepare.
But still, kind of neat. International Amiga Day. That's every day for us.
That's right. Aaron, our next story was actually shared with us on the old Discord. Mr. Rushi found this on the old Belgian Amiga Club Facebook page. He took a screenshot of it, which we've shared here. This is some enterprising fellow has created a disk drive. This is written a disk drive heavy news segment for the Amiga Mini that works with an SD card. What do you think about this thing, Aaron?
Goofy, but I mean, listen, this is a lot like my idea to take the jukebox and put an MP3 player in it, and it's just like, what are you doing? You're an idiot. But I mean, you can do it if you have that much love.
Right.
So what this guy did was, I'm assuming, from looking at these pictures, that he 3D printed his own little drive bay from somewhere, and then he basically stuck a SD card reader in it, cunningly, winding wiring about. He's got pictures of the innards here. and then you could put an SD card in it that has a little disk drive sticker in it.
Mm-hmm.
So there you go. That's it. And then, of course, you hook it into your Amiga that has presumably has some sort of interface that you can use for this thing.
Well, this is for the Amiga Mini.
Oh,
you
that's
can tell
right.
that because the disk drive is half the size.
You're
of
right.
the
My
Amiga
brain freezed up. I keep forgetting that thing exists. So you plug this thing. So that really makes it more wacky than it was, because I mean you're going a long way for this one.
Well, you know, you're going a long way if you even own an Amiga Mini. Let's be honest, because there's all kinds of ways that you can play Amiga games. So I salute this guy because
I mean, it looks cool. It looks like a legit piece of hardware.
Well, number one, it doesn't have 8 million wires hanging out of the back of it because he's got this thing wired up pretty ingeniously. Number two, I like the fact that he's putting stickers on his SD cards. That means he's taken time out of his busy day to print individual labels that have, and maybe, who knows, maybe he's got an entire collection of Amiga discs, 1 ADF per SD card. And so he'll gingerly take one out of the box and slide it in.
You know, I do wonder that, because I've seen people that have these, like, SD card holders, and they're like, they 3D print them. I think to myself, you know, you could really just need one.
Right.
I mean, for the most part, unless you're really out of your mind.
Right.
But
so, you know, I've toyed with the idea of doing something similar because I am a man after this guy's own heart, because I enjoy the ritual of taking things out of things and sliding things in. And I think, like, listen.
That's the ritual you love?
That's the ritual. And so, like, for the Pi, having, like, a different operating system on each SD card that you stick into the Pi and bang, boom, it's the old BM C64, all that stuff.
Yeah.
So, but hats off to this guy. I wish I knew his name. I do know his name. His name is Steffest Punt BE, which might have been truncated for Facebook purposes.
Yeah, I salute you, weird guy. Now give me credit. I mean, hey,
weird guy, we salute you.
You know, I mean, this is a weird project, but he made it look good.
Yeah,
Boat.
yeah.
Speaking of looking good, before we depart the news here, Boat, because this is the big news. We might as well just go ahead and bring it up now since we're early on. We are only a few weeks, Boat. A few weeks. I mean, literally less than 3 weeks from your namesake convention.
Yes,
it's Boatfest.
Boatfest.
Give them a scoop, Boat.
On June 24th and 25th in lovely downtown Hurricane, West Virginia, in the Holiday Inn Express Conference Center, we will be hosting West Virginia's premier retro computing festival. We will have 30+ retro consoles and computers set out and for free play. We'll have a virtual pinball machine there. We've sold quite a few tickets. People from literally all over the country are going to be, and from parts outside of the country are going to be here to hobnob around, enjoy time together.
I'm not sure hobnobbing is the word I use.
Frank from Retro Rewind, plus a van full of miscellaneous Canadians, will be coming down to repair your broken systems and be on hand to answer any technical questions you might have. We're going to have contests. We're going to have drawings. We're going to have karaoke with Mixmaster Aaron. It's going to be a really, really fun weekend of just hanging out, playing some fun games, and getting some cool stuff. Also, if you've got a bunch of extra retro computing stuff that you'd like to swap with somebody else and get some new retro computing stuff, bring it on down, because we're going to have a swap meet. We'll have official Boatfest merch for sale. It's going to be a really, really fun weekend. Tickets are $25 for the weekend, and you can check out the official schedule and get your tickets over at boatfest.info.
Well, I also want to mention that on top of everything Boat mentioned, we're going to be doing some shows live there at Boatfest, including this one, including all of our normal stuff, plus our good buddy, the Flackster.
Yeah.
Jack freaking Flack coming in live. I was talking to the Branches the other day. We're going to have a lot of people that do a lot of streaming stuff. We've got representatives from Coco Talk, and we got Mr. Cole is going to be there. A bunch of guys that are streamers are going to be there, which should be a lot of fun. A bunch of TeamSpeak regulars are going to be there. Big group of them, so that they're going to get into some trouble.
To mention the TeamSpeak regulars will be there in full force.
That's what I said.
Oh, I'm sorry.
You left town for a minute mentally.
I left town mentally.
It should be a lot of fun. If you are within the driving range, please stop by. Now, if Wi-Fi permits, we're going to stream a good chunk of this event and the shows if we can. If we can't, we'll be recording everything. So any way it goes, it'll get released. It just may be on a tape, on a
tape delay.
Time delay.
Like they say on
delay.
wrestling, we'll keep the cameras rolling.
That's right. Nothing ever happens during a commercial break. You ever notice that? So please, if you are in the neighborhood, drop by and say hi. It should be a lot of fun, Boat. I think that's all the news we've got, my friend.
All right. Well, before we dive into this week's game of the week, Aaron, why don't we talk a little bit about our favorite place to get all of our Commodore computer supplies, Retro Rewind.
Speak of the devil here. I want to talk a little bit about Frank's newest product here, the A630, the accelerator for your Amiga 600. I was talking earlier about this thing, Boat, before we went on the air. The Amiga 600 has become quite a hot property.
Well, people are finally catching on to the fact that it's the greatest Amiga that was ever created.
Well, and the funny thing is, it's one of the worst. It's one of
You're
the
out of your
worst.
mind.
No, I mean, back in the day, when it came out, it showed...
It was a disappointment when it came out.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
You could say that. It was unmitigated horror.
Mm-hmm.
And if you're like me and you were reading the magazines and you saw this was the next offering, it's like, what is this? This is crap is what it is. But flash forward 30 or so years, and all of a sudden, this thing's looking pretty great. Why? It's small. It's got a very small footprint. It's got the IDE port in it. It's a decent little machine. It didn't have the jack it needed. And this accelerator gives it the jack it needs. It's a great accelerator, clocked at 50 megahertz, 64 meg of memory. And this is important, it's fully compatible with the Amiga 600 PCMCIA slot. So you don't have to worry about that annoyance with the PCMCIA slot.
Because that was always the issue with some of the other accelerators,
and, well,
right?
also with the same with 1200 as well. The PCMCIA card slot is sort of, it wasn't like what I would call 100%, you know what I mean? It's got a problem. Listen, you're looking to jack up your 600, Frank's got these things on sale, $225 US. That's a good price. And the fact of the matter is, this takes the A600 from like an amusing novelty to a powerhouse like that.
Yeah.
And you've got a good socket on this thing. It holds well. He's told me they've had no problems with it, and all the reports I've heard tell me that this thing's top shelf. Of course, Frank has more than just accelerators. For the Amiga, he does all sorts of services for the Amiga and Commodore line, the TRC color computer. I'm talking recapping and repairs. He'll also sell you caps if you need to do the recapping yourself. He's got parts. He's got carts. He's got ROMs. He's got everything you need if you've got a Commodore or an Amiga or a Coco.
That's right. And if you want to take advantage of a way to save some money, use the promo code Amigos10 at checkout, and you can save 10% off any order at Retro Rewind. We thank Retro Rewind for being an official sponsor of the Amigos.
It's like free money right there.
That's right.
Take advantage, folks.
All right, Aaron, we've lingered about long enough. It's time to take a deep dive into Yolanda.
You know, I'm gotta tell you, I'm really looking forward to this, and for real, because let's come clean with the people. You had played this before, and I don't think I'd ever actually played it. I thought I did, but when I actually started playing it, it wasn't the game I thought it was.
Okay.
And so this was really my first go around with Yolanda, and I knew that you had been watching the committee's voting closely because you were worried that this would win, and then when it did, you weren't exactly jumping for joy.
I was not thrilled.
So I'm interested to see if a week of playing Yolanda has softened your demeanor towards it. Just to get into the particulars on this, released on the Amiga in 1990, one disc, and published by Millennium, developed by Vector Dean. Now, the development of this is interesting. I will say before I get into it, Vector Dean, you've probably heard of. They did all the James Pond games that you're so fond of. Listen, you love the aquatic games, so you at least got one in there you like. They also did Bad Company, Dogs of War, Fire and Brimstone. So these guys had success, okay? This game, I kept reading, I kept looking at who developed the game. Like, what is this? and they always had it listed as designed by Steve Back, and then coded and the graphics, everything else was everyone else. I thought to myself, what is up with this? So I'm getting to a point here, and so I looked into Steve Back. Okay, that's B-A-K, who designed this game. He also is credited as the designer of the ST version, which this was taken from. This started on the ST, as far as I could tell. He worked on a couple games we've played, including that would include Fright Night, if you'll recall Fright Night, Gold Runner, Spitting Image, another Amiga-thon favorite. I think we covered that one time. But this game, it turns out, Boat, is actually based on another game.
Really?
Another game that Steve Back did. Okay, so there's a game for the 8-bit machines called Hercules. Okay, and Hercules is this, basically it's a lot like Yolanda, but in the 8-bit version.
Okay.
It came out on the C64 initially, as far as I could tell, and then it made the rounds on the C16, the Acorn, Electron, the BBC Micro, and the ZX, all the ones you would expect. It was released in '84. Okay, Hercules was a game where you play as Hercules. You're going through the trials of Hercules. Sound familiar? And you're trying to get through all the trials of Hercules to win the game. And Yolanda is basically that exact same premise with Hercules' daughter.
Okay.
All right, and so that's
now,
the
is that
backstory.
canon?
That's canon.
So, I mean, like, in the actual Greek mythology, did Hercules have a daughter named Yolanda?
It's funny you should mention that, because I was wondering that too. I looked it up, and I saw references to a daughter of Hercules named Yolanda. Now, Hercules, of course, you get different mythology depending if it's Greek or it's a real mess.
Right.
I didn't see, for the most part, the big sites I looked at, and I didn't go deeply into this. Didn't say anything about him, but he had a daughter, but not named Yolanda. But I did see a couple of things talk about a daughter named Yolanda, so there may be some basis in that.
Yeah.
Weird stuff. I looked at the, and I wanted to talk about this early in, so we might as well go talk about it now. I looked at the Hercules, and I looked at it on the C64, and I put a little demonstration together here if you're watching at home. But it's got Yolanda and it's got Hercules. And you can see from looking at Hercules that they play similarly. You play Hercules; it's a jumping platform style game, and including getting the mystical item he has to pick up. So you can see that that's exactly what's happening.
Oh yeah, there's the golden fleece right there.
If you actually look this game up on Moby, it doesn't even list Yolanda as a game. It lists Hercules with an alias name as Yolanda.
Really?
Which, that's not entirely correct.
Yeah.
Because Hercules was never released as Hercules on the Amiga, so they sort of dropped the ball on that one. But it's something that I found interesting. It's just a game that he'd worked up for the Amiga. Now, with all that said, I don't know that Steve Back, I didn't think Steve Back did anything on these except for the design of the original game. Okay, in the design. What does that mean? He designed the game. It means I don't know if he was involved in that, but when I look over the people that worked on this game, and this is sort of what threw me on it, amongst the people that worked on it were Phil Back did the music. So one, which I believe is either his son, I think it's his son from what I read. So he was involved in this probably in some way. He may have been fully involved in it. His design name is in the credits, but I don't know if they just took his old game and ported it up. I don't know. So anyway, there's that. Now, what the heck is this game? Do you want to? I'd love to hear you explain what this is, Boat.
Okay. So Yolanda is a single-screen platformer game in the grand tradition of games like Jumpman. In which you play as the titular Yolanda, and your job is to negotiate a series of obstacles in order to reach a doorway. Okay, some of the obstacles that you may have to overcome are lava, animals of various kinds, spiders, crabs.
Yeah.
And you also have to negotiate jumping across chasms. You have to climb vines. There are fireballs that issue forth that you have to avoid. And once you reach the next level, then you go. It's a new challenge, and you move through the game.
The backstory to this is sort of interesting. They don't just say because basically Yolanda is beautiful, all right, according to backstory, and Hera is not pleased, the goddess, and so she's like, all right, you're screwed unless you go back and recreate your father's victories at these various challenges. Otherwise, you're hosed. So that's why you're playing this beautiful woman taking on these tests just to make Hera happy. And there you go. Now, that sounds great. Let's break down what this game actually is, right? Because that was an excellent explanation. This game is a throwback game in every way. It may have been upgraded to the 16-bit computer, and it may have been the name may have changed. They may have upgraded the graphics, but this is exactly an 8-bit game in every conceivable way.
Yeah.
And this goes back to a game like a Manic Miner, that kind of game where it takes you to school. This is a game that hates the player, and it tells you in the box that this is the hardest game ever made.
It's the ultimate challenge.
It's the ultimate challenge, and that you're probably boned. You could instantly die within 2 seconds of starting your very first man.
Right.
Okay? So you've got to come to grips with that. The game will start you out on a text screen, and it will tell you, okay, and this is an area where you'll be attempting to get the golden fleece, for example.
Well, the very first thing that you get when you start the game is you hit 1, 2, or T.
Yeah.
Okay? When you hit 1, then you get a joystick. You get a menu that says push up on the joystick for wimpy.
Yeah.
Press fire for regular, and press down for heroic.
Yeah.
And what changes are the amount of lives that you get. If you start with wimpy, you get 8. I think regular is 4, and heroic is only 1.
Yeah. And I will tell you, for full disclosure, I knew I know how this is going to go. I used unlimited lives.
Oh,
right
you
out of the gate.
went just right
yeah,
out of the gate.
Yeah, because I was like, I'm not going to mess with that. And I also, I didn't even find out about those menus until after I played. I just hit the button and started the game. I didn't even once I started reading the docs, I'm like, oh, there's a menu. But yeah, I recommend cheating immediately. All right, and because this is going to change how you perceive this game. All right, so once Boat mentioned, once you actually pick your level, you start the game, 1 or 2 players. It's a hot seat. So there's a screen that will pop up. It will give you which trial of Hercules you're on. Okay. Now, it's important, especially if you're not cheating, to memorize which of these artifacts you're after, because certain artifacts will start the game with your instant death. Also, when you start the playable part of this game, there is 0% time to mill around. The second you see where you're at, you have to go.
Yeah.
For example, one of the trials starts you at on a high platform, and the second you start, you have about 2 seconds to jump over a fireball that's already coming at you. All right. If you don't jump, you're boned. All right. A lot of levels start you at the bottom, and after a while, the floor catches fire and it instantly kills you. You've got literally 1 or 2 seconds to move, and to get off that floor, you're going to die. Now, those are the generous parts of the game. As you go, Boat said this is sort of like a Jumpman, or maybe like a Montezuma's Revenge. They does have something in common with those, but it's also got. It reminded me almost like Dragon's Lair, Rick Dangerous, because you have one shot at it.
Well, it's a trial and error experience.
You will have to memorize the majority of the levels. Now, there are some levels I picked up right away and could get through them, but most of them and the reason you have to memorize them is because the game lies and the game cheats. You'll see a platform, you jump on it, it just catches fire, or it just disappears and dumps you into the fire. You see a vine, you want to jump on it, it may just disappear when you grab it.
Right.
This game cheats. It's a very cheap game. In fact, I would say it's cheaper. We've played Manic Miner, we've played Jet Set Willie, we've played a lot of these style games on most of the ZX. And those games don't cheat like this. They're hard. They have a lot in common with it, but this game is just straight up cheap.
Well, the difference, there are two big differences.
Yeah.
One is that when you play Manic Miner, you're presented with a level. And no matter how difficult the level is, if you don't move at the beginning of the level, you have as much time as you need to sort of plot your route.
Yeah.
Okay? In this game, like you said, in the majority of the levels, you have like 3 seconds before you're either killed by a fireball or the platform that you're standing on catches fire and you die.
Yes.
Okay? The second thing is that in Manic Miner, everything operates in a predictable way. There's various things that are put together in a Manic Miner, whether it's a treadmill or whether it's enemy patterns or whether things always happen the same way. And like when you go from level to level, there aren't any surprises. Versus, like you said, in this game, there are some platforms that you just jump right through.
Yeah.
They're not real platforms. And so it takes away any illusion that you can possibly get better at this game through anything other than memorization. It throws that notion right out the window.
And something else that's different is that Manic Miner, you'll play to a level, then you can either get past that level or die trying.
Mm-hmm.
This game, it switches levels, and that's what reminds me of Dragon's Lair.
Yeah. Yeah.
If you can't get past this level, don't worry if you die, because you're going to be going somewhere completely different. And you've got to keep in mind that you're only accessing, for example, again, I'm going to go back to the Golden Fleece. You're only accessing the first part of like 3 screens worth of perils, okay? You're never going to see screens 2 and 3 until you get past the first. So that means you've got 36 or so screens. It says 50, so maybe a little up there because there may be some extra ones. I didn't get very far, as you can imagine. But you've got many screens of peril that you're not going to be as practiced at as you are in a Manic Miner, and that makes this game even harder because you're not doing the same thing over and over. Now, I want to talk about the controls on this. Okay, this game is much in the same vein as a Manic Miner. Requires pinpoint accuracy, pixel perfect accuracy. Would you agree with that?
Yes.
Now, in a game like this, you need perfect controls. Okay, this doesn't have them. This game has problems. It poses problems that you can eventually overcome because you'll get used to it. But the game is not friendly to learn the controls of. I mean, the controls don't just suddenly change, but they are difficult to master. And I'm going to give you an example, and I'm anxious to hear if you had the same problem. Grabbing vines can be a tricky and difficult proposition. Do you grab them straight up from under them, or if you're coming in from the side? Often I would accidentally jump twice when I'm trying to grab one and just jump right off. And the thing is, you're under such pressures that you can't make any mistakes. You cannot make a single mistake on a lot of these boards. And if you can't, for example, just something as simple as getting off the main floor before it catches fire can get you killed time and time again just on the basis that you're having difficulty grabbing the vines, which gave me all sorts of trouble. Did you experience anything like that?
Yeah, to me, the jumping part of this game is less pixel perfect than what you need in a game like Manic Miner. But the grabbing of the vines is the kiss of death.
Yeah.
It's the kiss of death because you have to do that in almost every level.
Yeah.
And you can grab a vine and then hit jump twice and just fling yourself back off the vine.
Yeah.
That is the part of the game that was the most frustrating to me. I mean, let's be honest. This game is exactly what it says it is.
Yeah.
It's the ultimate challenge.
It is.
This game is a game that if you like to spend tons and tons of your free time memorizing the single route through every one of these levels that will take you to the end, if that's the sort of thing that gives you a sense of accomplishment, and you love the fact that you know in your heart of hearts that 99% of the people that play this game will put it down after 5 minutes, if you're the one that did good on it, this is the game for you. If you're like me and enjoy playing video games, this is not a game for you.
I'm going to tell you, the game is cheap. It doesn't play fair. It purposely tricks you.
Mm-hmm.
It wants you to die. Okay, the controls are iffy. They're fair once you get used to them, but they're difficult. And the game's the structure of the game itself, the fact that it starts you at instant death, the fact that you have 1 second to move, it's designed. No offense to the poor fellow that did it, but the design is long. It needs more.
Well,
it needs more in terms of the ability to even start the level.
I understand because obviously this is like the logical conclusion of this type of game. It's like, how do we push this genre to its logical extreme? You know, how can we make the single platform or the single screen platformer as difficult as we can while still making it doable? And the answer is you have to turn it into basically a Dragon's Lair type game where every movement you make is scripted.
So with all that said, the many flaws, I really like this game. I played the crap out of it. I enjoyed it immensely. And I enjoyed this the exact same way that I enjoyed Manic Miner when we covered that on the R. Sinclair. All right, it's not a game for everyone, and it's infuriating. In some ways, it's more infuriating than Manic Miner. Okay, because Manic Miner I thought was a better, more cleverly designed game. All right, this guy's not as clever, but he's on the right track. This game, with all of its flaws, you have to cheat. You have to turn on Unlimited Man. I'm telling you, I would not like this game without cheating because I don't want to start over and over. Although it's pointless. I mean, ultimately you end up saying, but I mean, if you put it on Unlimited Man and just sit there and try to beat these levels, which is what I did. I could get past after many hours of play. I could get past the majority of the first levels of the stuff. There were some levels I could get past the second part, but I couldn't get past the third part. Not many. And the reason is I had ran through, just like Manic Miner, I had played the opening levels so much that I had become well acquainted with them. All right, now, does that mean I could, just like Manic Miner, does that mean every time I could get past? No. In fact, some of the levels I thought were fairly simple. I would die sometimes because you didn't grab the vine in time. And like I said, there's no room for error. Mm-hmm. And so that could get frustrating. This is a game where probably 80% of people would turn it off after 5 minutes, just like you said. Then about 15% of people would play it for about 20 minutes and then give up. And then there's that 5% of people that are morons. They're insane. They're crazy in the head. And this is the kind of game that takes me to a place I don't often go. And the place I don't often go is just rage and fury. And you want to beat the game because the game dared to oppose you in this way. It's so cheap. And so I enjoyed it on that level. Is it a good game? No. But it does take me back to that Manic Miner feeling of an 8-bit game. The thing is, with a few changes, this could have been a much better game. And a lot of them are, wouldn't you agree, are pretty simple changes.
Yeah.
Just if you like the controls of this boat and you didn't instantly die on a level, you could have enjoyed this much more.
I don't even think instantly dying on a level, that's not a deal breaker for me. What I would have liked to have seen is some overworld where you have branching paths and you can choose what level you want to start on.
Yes.
You can choose
That's exactly what I thought.
Choose whatever artifact you want to go for first. Yeah. That makes the sort of burnout factor a little bit less.
Yes. And go ahead. Sorry, go ahead.
And the other thing is, like, this is a button for jump game, which I like. I'm all about button for jump, as you know. But if you hold the jump button down, you jump infinitely. Okay.
Yeah.
That's a problem. That's a problem. Really, and then like I said, if
it gets you killed.
If you play this game on Wimp mode, you get 8 lives.
Yeah, not enough.
But it doesn't matter if you're playing with unlimited lives or 8 lives. If you have the option to play the level that you want to play over and over again until you get good at it, then that's fine. It's the constant skipping around of levels that is, I don't understand why that's there.
What you're saying about the picking the level, sort of like you do Tron or something, That's absolutely. I had the exact same thought. And the thing is, that gives the game a lot more legs.
Yeah.
You know, and because you can set it at a master level. Now, if the guy making it wanted to make the ultimately difficult game, and that's why he didn't put that in there. And truth be told, because I don't want to sit here and say put this game over, because without the unlimited lives, I would not like this game at all.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just telling you.
Mm-hmm.
So it's not a good game. With the unlimited lives cheat, where you can go in there and try to figure out these levels, figuring out the levels, I found fun. All right, and frustrating but fun. And getting used to the controls, I found frustrating but doable. You know, I know this game is not popular. I looked when I looked up the reviews of the game. I mean, we'll get to them, but it got crushed. But with all that said, if I'll give the following, if you are into these sorts of games, and we didn't even talk about the music. Hold a second now. That it also is irritating. You hear the same 10 seconds of song over and from the beginning, over and over and over.
The music got muted real fast.
Even Manic Miner was this was right. And the thing is, if we heard that music once, it would be okay. Over and over and over, no good. But with all that said, there is a set of people that would enjoy this game. How do we do for reviews, Bo?
Lord Soup writes, Rancid Detritus, waste of a disc. Or detritus, I think is how I say that. 1 out of 10. David Hearn Ryder says, a game that takes great delight in killing you. Progress isn't reliant on skill. Instead, you must remember when platforms turn to fire and where the invisible platforms are as you return to the game with gritted teeth and an overflowing swear jar. Was this play tested by a T1000? Overall, 0 out of 10.
Oh, man.
Super Tech Boy writes, this game only exists for hazing your friends, and for that, 10 out of 10. Pajako writes, the game started, I looked around the screen to see what I had to do and where I needed to go, and in that nanosecond, the floor caught fire and I died. Things rapidly go downhill from there. Yolanda is punishing at every turn, and whilst games are allowed to be tough, this one is just plain unfair. Everything is pretty much learned by dying and try not to do that the next time. Coupled with twitchy controls, the whole thing feels like video game trolling. I wouldn't even use the disc as a coaster. 1 out of 10. Alien Breeder writes, Yolanda is somehow ranked lower than Top Banana on Lemon. Meaning that there were actual human beings that gave both of these atrocities scores above 0. While I cannot condone this rating lower than Top Banana, as Top Banana is the worst video game ever made on any system ever designed, this certainly does try its best to be that bad. Fortunately, while it has a hideous background, you can actually see the main character and is not quite as vomit-inducing. The controls are nearly as bad and the objective is just as confusing. The one positive is that the horrifyingly annoying music did not send me into a psychotic rage like the sound in Top Banana. Overall, I give Yolanda a minus 272.15, 1 point above Top Banana.
Man.
And Barkbit writes, if you look at things in an insane, positive light, you could call this exercise a proto-Twitch game, making you train your reflexes and memory to be able to traverse Yolanda's somewhat hostile environment. However, most people are attached to reality and can see this game for what it really is, a joke. 1 out of 10.
Man. Well, the Discord folks were very much in line with the actual magazine reviews of the day. This did indeed get a 2.15 on Lemon. To put it in perspective, Top Banana got a 2.53, so this is parts of a point lower.
I totally agree with Alien Breeder. As many bad points as there are in Yolanda, I would gladly play Yolanda for the rest of eternity rather than play Top Banana.
Well, Top Banana was not just bad gameplay. It was repulsive character,
right.
Horrible, weird sound. Everything about that game was repulsive. Some of this game has some not bad qualities. Getting into the magazine reviews, Amiga Action gave this a 70%, Bo. Not bad. Amiga Format, not so kind, 49%. Amiga Joker gave this a disemboweling score of 10%.
Oh my gosh.
The Games Machine, 27%, and the one, believe it or not, in November of 91, apparently gave this a 4 out of 5.
What?
You heard me. That's
the
what,
Games
that's what
Machine.
The one. No, it was the one.
Oh, this was the one?
Now, I know some of these things have some odd scoring system, but a 4 out of 5 sounds like they didn't hate it.
Hey, that sounds like they got some Monet.
The average magazine rating 47% brutal.
Yeah.
And I will tell you, this can be bought if you. I did see one for sale, and if you've got with shipping, if you've got $38 on you, you can take this thing to the house. And actually, the box of this thing's kind of cool looking. Overall, not nearly as brutal a week as I thought it was going to be playing this. I mean, it was brutal, but it's sort of my kind of brutal, Boat. So I actually part of me sort of dug it. I'm not going to lie.
All right, Aaron. Well, let's move on and check out what's been going on over in the old YouTube community this week.
Very good, Boat. So just a couple releases this week, and I'll let you talk on this one, Boat, right away. This is Ask the Amigos.
That's right. So every month we get together and we talk about, people ask us questions on Discord on the Ask the Amigos channel. We answer them all, Aaron. Mm-hmm. We answer them all.
Yeah.
And there was one of the questions was, would you rather go cheese rolling? Or there were several other UK pastimes that you might want to be involved in.
It always amazes me when you come up with the line for these. And this time, cheese roll.
Now, you might ask me, what questions were we asked? I immediately forget those
every time. You've mentioned that before, and I believe you. But we had a good time. That's pretty much hot off the presses, too. We just cranked that out like it was last weekend.
Yeah.
That was a good time. Now this is a stunner to me. You know, ARG Presents is a strange show to work on. I'll be honest with you. There's some weeks I'm like, man, because no one watches that show in the strength of the host. I can tell you that right now. They don't like us. That's not true. They don't hate us.
You guys are awesome.
They're actually indifferent to us. It all depends on what we're covering. And the things that we cover, sometimes I think, man, this is going to be a surefire winner. And sometimes I'm like, man, we're going to take a bath on this one. And often I'm surprised. I thought the calculator episode we did was a real good one. I really enjoyed that. I thought it'd do well. It didn't do that good. But girl games, it has been the most popular episode we have for quite a while.
It's very popular. Very popular.
On YouTube. Me and the Brent did look at games marketed for girls or ladies. We looked at two dramatically different choices. I went the more conventional route with Nancy Drew, Message at a Haunted House. The Brent pulled a Brent, and he picked Pac-Man. Now, I had told Boat 1 week ago today that I was furious. I mean, literally, I was driving home in the car from work on Friday. Just thinking about it made me super furious. Because the Brent always picks these oddball... He's in the chat right now. You're a goof. He picks these oddball things. However, I'm going to give the devil his due. His research was spot on. And I even went back and confirmed some of his goofy research. And in fact, Pac-Man was in fact made to market toward girls, despite the fact that man is in the title. And even if you look at the Japanese title, it still says man. This was marketed toward girls. I give the guy credit, and apparently the people bought it because we haven't had any hate mail. We heard a few comments on the show, amazingly from a lady, I might add, and she sided with the Brent.
There you go.
So
there you go.
A brutal shot.
Listen, here's the secret for ARG Presents YouTube views.
Yeah.
Every show title just put for girls at the end of it. It's TI-85 games.
That's how we're gonna play it. There you go. Hey, listen, we appreciate everyone. We had a good crowd in the chat for that one too. We'll take it. We appreciate it. So if you want to hear me and the Brent go on about, and if anyone is qualified to talk about games for girls, it's me. Because I've played more Barbie than any man
That's
should.
true. That's true.
So I felt like this is an episode I could sink my teeth into, Boat. That's all we had on our main channel this week. Let's switch over to the Amigos stream team. We had a couple offerings over there. One was from our good buddy, the Flackster.
Yeah.
Jack Flack. He did a little something because of it's, Flack's no fool, right? What's in the news right now? The new Top Gun movie, right? So what's the Flacker do? He fires up the old C-64 version of Top Gun. Pretty cool. I'd seen Top Gun.
Look at his lighting. He's got the electric blue backlight there too.
Yeah, what can you do? It's electric blue. He also plays Ace 2. It's funny because me and the Brent played Ace on one of the episodes of ARG Presents, so I was familiar with that. I hadn't seen Ace 2. Very attractive, amazing game for the C64. And then he finishes off a little Neo Geo Aero Fighters 2. I used to own Aero Fighters 1 for the actual cabinet for it, so I was a little bit familiar with this one. Great stuff. I really enjoyed it. I also want to mention that he just released Like a DOS this week. It was on Jumpman Lives, which is a game I never thought anyone would ever cover because I only found out about it a couple years ago. It's basically an illegal Jumpman game that was released, but it's a really good game, and it comes with a level editor, so you should definitely check out Flack's other shows. Last on the docket, I pulled this out of the lost pile. Bam! This is a 2-year-old disaster stream I did, and this was on. Mostly, what I did here was play different variants of California games.
I remember that,
and some other stuff.
Yeah, I remember.
It got lost in the shuffle. I was like, man, I'm gonna stick this up there. We played a lot of stuff. We went to a lot of systems. These are all in the original hardware. C64, Coco.
That's Park Patrol. That's one of my
Park
favorites.
Patrol. We did. You remember this one?
That's New York City.
New York Big Apple.
Yeah.
We did Pac-Man.
That's Pac-Dude right there.
Yeah. We also played, like I said.
That's the Lynx version of California games.
That's impressive that you know that.
Yeah,
How
man.
do you even know? How
Because
can you
I'm a freaking
identify?
California games genius.
Listen to you. Very good. So if you want to watch me and quite a few people in the chat that night, just go through
I remember
and play
that night well. It's one of the greatest nights of my life.
Wow. Well, that's dandy, Bo. Well, then you should watch this. That's all available on the Amigos stream team. That's 3 words. Subscribe today. We're going to be using this channel a lot in the future, and we're going to be using it also to do some stuff for Boatfest.
That's right.
Channels.
That's right. And now's as good a time as any to announce that if you are watching us live right now on Friday night and you're feeling froggy, a couple hours after we finish Amigos, we are going to be doing a stream with original hardware Atari 8-bit public domain games run off the original discs. I've got the 1200 XL. Yep, I've got the 1200 XL with the upgraded video board. I've got my 1050 disc drive and a box full of discs that one of the gracious guys over at the Atari Age Forum sent me. And we are going to be firing that bad boy up later this evening. So stick around and get into some great Atari 8-bit action.
That should be interesting. That should be interesting. That's all we've got, Boat. That's all we've got. Thanks, everyone, for checking out both channels, and hopefully you can find something there to watch, Boat.
Now, Aaron, last week we had the old Patreon song challenge, okay? And this one, I've got to say that this one surprised me.
Oh, yeah?
Okay. Now, most of the time I have no qualms about throwing any song under the bus that I perform Patreon song challenge.
Under the boat.
This one I did feel a little bit bad because this truly is one of my favorite songs of all time. Ooh Child by the 5 Stair Steps.
College music.
Yeah, college music. But Mr. Chip got it right. He was the only one.
I've never heard of that song or that band.
You've never heard, ooh, child, things are gonna get easier.
Nope.
Ooh. It's one of the greatest
Maybe
soul
I've never
songs
heard it
of
when
all
you
time.
sing it.
Someday, yeah, we'll get it together. You never?
Oh,
Never?
God,
Man.
Bode. I don't ever want to hear it now.
Well, Aaron, we've got a new Patreon song challenge here.
Is that where you grab the Slurpee?
I'm grabbing the Slurpee.
The lube
I'm frantically looking around the room. You know it's time.
Oh, man.
For the Patreon song.
Well, Brent
challenge.
says it's a great song.
It is? Yeah, thank you, Brent.
Yeah. He also picked Pac-Man for Ladies Week. I just want to make that abundantly clear.
So, here we go. If you know it, send me an email at john@amigospodcast.com.
Brace yourself for this one, I can tell.
And I will announce you as a winner on the next show. R-Typer Bumface, Pooh Hands Chris, Edwards Petzl Alarm, Albert Kemp we like, what we like, Mr. Chip, Peter Price, Wonder, Joseph, Mark Richardson, David Hull, Remo K. Rumble K. David Davis, Drew Carlos, Matthew Mobius, Phantom Magnus, Sussex Yates, Alistair, Dean Devonsey, George Rosansky, The Amiga Show, Dan Crabtree, Super Fam King. Crazy Loomis William, Vintage Sky Heavy System. Bundy Fragler, Mark Ballin, Olaf Hope, Alien Breeder. David Lester, Calvert Boy, Daniel Williams, Lucasson, Bomb 6 the Bass, Frodo Inno, Solid Sizer Tech, Major Gun, Mr. Cola, Barnard Lucas, Jerry Dennington, Zorg Club, Reflection, Simon Letch, Cap and Crispy, Kilobytes and Caffeine, Gary Heather, Free Lunch, Kate Fox, David Pickford, Karen Armstrong, Andy Jones, Lobster Manada, 10-minute Amiga Retrocast, Bernard Quinn, RMC, Tim Drew, Joseph Harrison, Kyle Letter, Rob O'Hara, Matthew Larimore, Andy Craig, Shanzo, Bob Ben, Roland Burke, Andrew Monks, Joe the Zombie, Leaf, Gatlon, Allen, Kebab, Checo, Lord, John Marshall, Matthew Perron, Ricky DeRocha, Creepy Dead Boy, Biggie CTZ, The Slow, Norris Default, Sorghum, Mortensen, Edmund Helen, Christopher Hustle, Chris Foles, Lauren Giroux, Graham Bebke, Adbatters, B. O'Brien's Retro and Vintage, Gary Hucker, Paul Bossman, Duncan Styles, Stay from the Crib, Josh Nan, Adam Bradley, Jonas Rulo, THD, Eric Nelson, Daniel Bingston, Brian Coles, Jason Woods, Pixels at Dawn, and Kilbjorn Barman.
Oh, man. We'll talk about that later. I'll chastise you later for that. Holy good God.
And
no.
of course, Aaron, we've got to thank the fine folks that tune in live every Friday to watch us record on Twitch and subscribe to our Twitch channel. We got Beach Bum 7, Amy Steph, Negsol, Back to 8-Bit with Hermsky, Happy Coding ZX, Crusader Bastard, Dan versus Donuts, Twilight Zoner, John Marshall 3, 48K Ram, Butterbird, Pixel Rages, Blow Jellyfish, Warped Metalhead, Jigglebox, Milo Loves Chocolate, Uber Scuba Diver, Real Retro Dude, Rob O'Hara, Darkwing 602, MD44 Shoes, Grizzla, Mash Pie, Crabs MTG, Mitsuyama, Oil of Hope, Steve Burtz, RetroRewind.ca, Buck Owens, Texas Foosballer, Jabasoft, Monza Mess, Amiga Live, Christian Russell, Eor4077, Still Adolescing, and Frodo NL. Thank you all so much.
Thanks, everybody.
All right, Aaron, what are we going to play next week?
I'm afraid to look, but let's have a go at it here. And the winner is, oh my, it's the Jaguar.
Yeah.
We're going to play the Jag.
You know, we were just talking on the Discord. One of our Discord members owns a Jag.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
I worked for a guy who was a Jag dealer.
Really?
I rode in many Jags over the years.
You ever steal one?
No, and I've never ridden in an XJ220.
Me neither, man.
I've never even seen one of those. You know, we have went around the block on this one, haven't we, with this game?
Yeah, we've played this several times.
Yeah.
Another one that I'm surprised we haven't done so far on the show, or maybe this is one of those retro rewind episodes.
You never know. I'm not saying nothing anymore. Every time I think we did one, we haven't done it.
All right, but we're looking forward to it. Remember, folks, if you are a member of our Discord community, you can leave us a review, and we'll read it on the show. If you'd like to become a member of our Discord community and enjoy many other perks, you can go over to patreon.com/Amigos Podcast. Sign up over there and help support the show.
Yeah.
Thank you all so much for listening. We'll see you next time. Until then, adios.